Hello, online crew. How are you today? So I'm going to share with you in today's video 15 of the most common mistakes that people do on Facebook Lives. And the reason that I want to share this with you today is because we are in a current round of a video challenge. So I like to share this information for them because I've got people in the challenge that are doing live video for the very first time. So it's really cool to go through this information and just sort of know the pitfalls and some of the things that you can improve on when you do live video. Those of you that have done live video before or are doing currently doing live video, this is also really handy for you just to do a double check. Yeah, I'm doing that, or I'm not doing that, or maybe I could do that better, or oops, I didn't know that. So I'm going to fly through them, these 15 things, so you can do a little bit of a check-in if you're doing live video, or even for those of you that are not ventured there yet, but you want to, this would be a really good video for you to absorb. So when you do start, you know all the things to be aware of before you go live. Okay, so wherever you're at in your journey, this is useful information to check in with if you're doing live video or you're about to do live video. Okay. So a couple of things. Those of you in the online crew coaching community, we have our live Q&A Zoom call 1, in just under half an hour. So the Zoom details are all in the group. That's where you can jump on with me and say hello, ask me questions about your specific business. So if you're a coaching community member, just remember we've got that Zoom call in just under 30 minutes. Those of you, and that's mainly suitable for those in, US, Canada, type zones. Those of you in the UK, if you're catching the replay of that and you're in the coaching community, your call is on Friday morning. All the details are in the coaching community group, so you can have a look there. If you are in the current round of the video challenge, I did video 9 just in my time zone last night. So for those of you in the video challenge, just go into the video challenge group and make sure you're up to date with video 9, which has got the content for days 5 to 10. Okay, so who's here to say hello to? We've got Miss Cherie, we've got Miss Crystal. How are you? Thank you for saying hello to Henry. Henry hasn't had a lot of love lately, has he, Crystal? So this is Henry here, my little fish. If you're unaware, he guards Palm Cove here when I'm not around. Hello, Raymond. Good to see you on. Anybody looking like that, it just means you're in my free group, which is Social Media Strategies for Home Business Owners. Anybody is welcome to join that group, and you just need to click StreamYard to give me permission to see who you are. I'm about to jump on a live video, so we'll pop back. Good timing. Awesome. Very good timing. Crystal's one of our live members. We've got Cynthia in the house. How are you? Hello, Beth. Hello, Rashida. We've got Tammy. How are you, Tammy? Good to see you on. We've got Laurie. I love Henry. Awesome. Okay, so let's get straight into the content. I'm just going to fly through them, guys, so you can check in. Yep, I'm doing that. Or, oh, I need to do more of that. Okay. Number 1. Your expression, your smile, your energy on the video. How is it? Check in with that. Sorry, but nobody wants to watch people that is boring. Your energy is low. You're just going through the motion. Maybe you're doing live videos because you know you probably should, but you're not really enjoying them because you don't know what to say or those kind of things. You've got to have high energy. Nobody is expecting you to be somebody you're not, but you absolutely want to smile. You want to let people know that you are enjoying delivering the content to them, whatever it is, that you care about your audience. So your expression, your smile, your energy, all of that is really important. For those of you that are naturally really introverted, like you've got a really quiet personality, or you're really, really nervous, and so you're retreating a little bit and you don't necessarily have good energy, I always say to my video challenges, stand up and do your videos standing up instead of sitting down. So that naturally gives you more energy. It opens up your diaphragm more because you're standing up instead of sitting down, and you're more likely to have your shoulders up instead of rolled over potentially. So if you think you need a bit of a boost in your energy, 1, smile. You can smile while you're talking. You can smile while you're saying things, okay? Make sure people know that you're happy to be there. And the energy one is just stand up if you feel like you're lacking energy or a little bit, so you're a little bit shy, you're a little bit nervous, or you've got a really, really quiet personality, okay? Number 2, I am at fault of this all the time. I admit this all the time. I'm doing it right now. I'm looking at me instead of looking at you. I'm looking at me instead of looking at you. So always check in, whether you're on a computer or whether you're on your phone, where your camera is actually placed. So I'm on a Mac and my camera is right up. It's right next to my finger there, like it's up here. So to really look you in the eye, I need to look right up there. So that's a good way to double check whether you're looking in the right spot, is to go and play and put your finger around it. Like if you're on a phone, look at yourself, have the camera looking at yourself and put your finger over the camera. It's like, oh, it's actually over to the side. It's not in the middle. Like actually do that with your finger to work out exactly where your camera is. Really important with live video to look your audience in the eye. Okay, now you will naturally go back and look at you, every now and again. I do it all the time. So it doesn't make it wrong if you're not looking at the camera 100% of the time. Just remember to come back and forth to it. So you are, majority of your video, actually addressing the person looking at you. Like imagine if you were standing in a room and you were talking to somebody like in front of you, but you're looking over there and you're having a conversation with them, but you're actually looking over there and they're there. So same thing with the camera. Just make sure you work out where your camera actually is. Okay, that's number 2. Number 3, so 2 different things with number 3. It's your sound and your lighting. Okay, particularly if you're in any kind of noisy environment. If you think you are going to be, or think you're going outside, you're going to be doing a live video out at the beach, or it's really windy outside, make sure you put your little earbuds in and that you've got a little microphone down here, so that you're talking right into that. Wind is the worst because you can't hear it. But other people that are listening to you live, like I've had people do live videos in the challenge before and it's been really windy and I haven't actually been able to hear a word they've said. And they don't realize that because they're just talking. But the wind is the worst. So when you're inside like this, you should be good to go. You've got your microphone, on your phones, it should be good to go. But just make sure more so with sound when it's outside that you've got yourself covered with, a little mouthpiece of sorts. Lighting I find is pretty good when you've got, some kind of lighting around you. I've shared with you guys, those of you that have been around me for a while, I've never bought a ring light. And look how many live videos I do, 4 to 5 live videos a week. I've never, ever, ever bought a ring light, and yet everybody feels that they need a ring light. I've just got a tradies flood light. Like the way I explain it is if you're painting in a room at nighttime and you got a tradies floodlight, I just went to our local hardware store, bought one of those, and it's perfect. Okay, it's just shining down on me. I've got the fancy lights either side of me, like the photography type lights. The globes, where is one? I don't know where it is. The globes blow all the time. They're really expensive globes. Like, just don't worry about, expensive things. So if you need extra light, you could just do what I've done. Or if you're outside or near a window, just make sure the light is in front of you and not behind you. Because what happens when the light is behind you is your lens focuses on the light and you become really dark. So when you've got the light in front of you, it's actually shining on your face. So when you're outside and in the sun, make sure that you're facing the sun and the sun is, in front of you and lighting up your face. Okay. So just some little tips regarding sound and lighting. Number 4, position in the camera. So I do see a lot of videos, even in this current video challenge, I've seen it where people are, way over here. So try to, in your live videos, just be centered, top, bottom, side to side. Just have yourself positioned in the middle of the camera. Try not to have that much room and be over here or looking up like that or looking down like that. You want to be front on, looking straight at the camera with sort of even width either side And just be wary of where you're doing your lives, because if you've got a really, really busy background, like you're in your kitchen and you've got books and shelves, guess where everyone's looking, okay? I don't want you to get too worried about that. Because if you're going live, you're going live, and that's better than not going live at all. But if you can have something that's got minimal distractions in the background, it is better, because then they're listening to you instead of trying to work out what's on your shelves, behind you. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5, I see a lot of videos with no descriptions. Absolute no. Not for your live viewer particularly, but for your replay viewer. You should never have a live video without a description. Always let people know what you're talking about. Now, for the replay viewer, that's really important, because if somebody's scrolling their phone and you don't have anything written in your description, why would they even press play? They've got no reason to press play if you haven't got anything written in your description. The more advanced that you get with this, the better copywriter you become, the better your descriptions should be. Those of you that are doing multiple video challenges, I expect a lot more of you in your descriptions of your videos than I would a newbie. Okay, so what is the reason? What are you sharing? Today, mine's straightforward. 15 most common errors people make on Facebook Lives. It's very, succinct. It's telling you exactly what I'm going to talk about today, and that will either resonate with somebody or not. So that's good either way. But somebody watching the replay, like scrolling their phone, catching the replay, they'd be like, oh yeah, I'm learning to do Facebook Lives. Maybe I should watch that. Okay, so your description is essential. Now, for those of you doing lives on a computer, there's 2 boxes, not 1. When you do them on a phone, you've got your description, but when you do on them on the computer, you do title and description. Some of you will fill out the title box and you won't fill out the description box. So the same thing happens, is there's no description to your live video. The title is what people see when they go back to maybe your video library, like they go to your page and they check the video tab or the media tab, depending where they're looking, and they see all your videos. The title is what appears underneath the video. That's not the description, that's the title. So fill out both if you're on a computer, okay? Don't fill out one and not the other. You need both. Number 6, the length of time. How long are you talking for? Okay, if you're just doing live video for the very first time, you're really nervous and you talk for 2 minutes, then I don't care. At least you're going live, because you're 10 steps ahead of everyone else that isn't going live. So good on you. When you get more experience though, what drives the algorithm and Facebook to send your video out to more people is if you can talk over 10 minutes, like round about the 10 minutes, somewhere between 10 and 20. But here's the other catch. Don't just talk because you've heard that piece of information. You don't want to waffle and say things that you don't really need to say just because you've heard this 10-minute thing to do with the algorithm. So do what works for you. But as you get more advanced and you've got more value to bring to the table, you want to head for around that 10-minute mark, because you'll be able to get more life out of your video as far as organic reach goes. Because the last thing you want to do is talk for longer when people don't know you. You guys probably get annoyed with me sometimes because my videos go long. So they're probably roughly, on average, mainly around 20 minutes or so. Now, that's because I'm talking to you guys. I want to know what you say, and I've got lots of value to bring to you guys because I'm maybe just a little bit further ahead in my journey than you. So there's lots to talk about. You may not be at that stage in your journey. So it might be, okay, I'm going to talk about this, and you don't really have that knowledge or experience to ad lib. So it's short, sharp, and shiny. Short, sharp, and shiny is better than not at all. So don't stress about time frame, but you certainly don't want to talk for 30 minutes when you're not an influencer yet. You don't want to talk for 30 minutes if people are not used to watching you on live videos. So what you will find is the longer that you go on live videos, potentially you might end up talking a little bit longer because you'll say hello to people, you'll get a question, you'll answer that question. So naturally you just go a little bit longer, and that's good. But if people are not used to you yet, you're not considered a person of authority or influence, you don't want to be necessarily talking for half an hour because people aren't used to that from you. Okay, they're not hanging off your every word yet. They will. Okay, so there's all sorts of scenarios as to the length of time. There's no perfect time. Don't get hung up on that. Just remember those little things around time. Okay, number 7, huge one. for newbies and you experienced people when you just you preach because you're trying to give value. So it's been drummed into you, give value, give value, give value, because that's how people are going to learn to know, like, and trust me. So then I can recommend my stuff, or when I do that, they trust me, they might reach out to me. Yes, there's a method to it, the madness, which is all to do with attraction marketing. But what you want to do, especially when you're new, you want to share, you want to suggest, you want to recommend. You don't want to tell people what to do. Because unless you're known as a little bit of an authority, or you've been around the block for a couple of years doing, what you're doing, people are skeptical all the time. So when you turn up and you go, you should do this and you should do that, and you haven't done it yourself, or you haven't achieved it yourself, two things happen. One, people are looking at you going, do they have that influence and authority? And the other thing that goes through your mind is you feel like an imposter. Does that ring true to any of you, the imposter syndrome? When you're turning up teaching something and you don't really feel like you've done it yourself, so you're feeling like an imposter, and then that feels really uncomfortable, and you'll end up stop doing what you're doing because it just doesn't feel authentic and real to you. So here's the catch with live videos. You do not need to be an expert. You do not need to be a professional in your field. You just need to care about people and want to share some pretty cool stuff. Can you do that? Of course you can. So the way you deliver the content is really important. So you say things like, so there's something that I'm learning to do with XYZ, and I really wanted to share this with you because I'm finding it really helpful. So I thought it might be helpful to you out there. So this is what I'm suggesting you try out, because this is what I'm trying out and it's really working well for me. Blah, 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 blah. Or you say something like, I'm still learning myself. I'm on a journey, like you never stop learning. But what I recommend you try, because, I've heard this is a really good thing to do, is XYZ. You recommend, you suggest, and you have a conversation with your audience. You don't stand up there and go, right, and you come across as if, you're dictating to people. So just remember that we don't want to dictate to people. We want to share and we want to recommend. And you can get stronger in your message, like I do, when you've earned the right to sort of do that. And, I'm in the field building with you. I'm building a global business in my network marketing business. Everything that I teach you guys, I'm doing myself. Like, I've got that credibility. You guys might not necessarily have as much success as I've had to date. So you feel like an imposter when you teach things. But when you suggest, when you share, when you, just have a conversation with your audience rather than going, you'll get respected so much more. Just be really real and really raw and real authentic in the message that you're delivering, and don't be somebody you're not. And if you're learning, then share that with people, okay? It's all good. You just need to be one step ahead of the person that's listening to you, okay? Really, really important one. Whether you're new or whether you're experienced, it's still important, okay? So that was number 7. Number 8, I do find it interesting when I review people's videos in the video challenge and they've got all these comments and they're not responded to. So one of the downfalls with live video when you're killing your own algorithm is when you don't respond to people quickly. Now, I'll admit I'm at fault for this because of everything that I do. So I'll go live now, but in just, in 10 minutes time, I'm straight on a live Q&A Zoom call with my coaching community. So I can't respond to you guys and, all your comments in a timely manner because I'm moving straight onto another call. So what I would recommend to you guys is if you are available straight after you do a live and you've got comments, respond straight away. It drives the algorithm because Facebook is driven by conversations. So somebody leaves a comment, it's a signal to the algorithm, oh, somebody's engaging with that person. And then if you, in a timely manner, preferably within the first 90 minutes, can engage back and say, oh, thanks so much for your comment, and even ask a question and try to continue the conversation, that is amazing. All these signals are firing off in the algorithm, and it'll give your video more organic reach, because you're doing what Facebook wants us to do, and that's have genuine conversations, not just turn up and preach to people. Okay, so if you're doing live videos, if at all possible, in the first 90 minutes of any comments being left, respond to them. You'll build up your organic reach that way. Okay, we do live life, and sometimes, like my case today, it's not always achievable, but for the most part, if you can achieve that, that would be what you want to try and do. Okay, number 9, I do appreciate, and I've got them here. Like, I've got my notes. I've got my 10 points, okay? People do need notes, and they need guidance. And some people have squirrel moments, and some people are not comfortable with live video. So you might have some notes, but please don't read them word for word. It's really boring for people. You could read a sentence and then ad lib, and then read another sentence and ad lib. But the last thing you want to do on live video is, okay, so today I'm talking about the 15 most common errors that people make with Facebook Lives. Number 1 is expression, smile, check in with your energy. Number 2 is not looking at the camera. Number 3 is, sound and lighting. Like, I'm actually reading, and these are bullet points. So, when you write sentences out, you don't want to read word for word on a live video. You want to have some bullet points, mention something, ad lib, talk about it, have a conversation with your audience. Okay, so just straight reading is really boring for people to absorb. So just be aware of that. Number 10, the structure of a Facebook Live. So just not wasting people's time at the beginning of your video for the most part. So for those of you in the video challenge, I'll give you more of a structure later. But when you jump on a video, one of the things I really can't stand, unless it's a team training and it's in a Facebook group and you're waiting for people to jump on, when people say, you say you're going live at a certain time, it's like, oh, just wait till more people jump on. I find that really disrespectful to the people that have jumped on time, and they can just catch up, the replay. Like, if I have people even that jump on trainings a little bit late, and so they ask the same question, it's like, I won't repeat what I've said for that person. It'll be like, oh, we actually talked about that at the beginning of this call, so just go back and watch the replay, and then check in with what I said about that. So just when you start your live video, don't start with things like, oh, so how was your day? What did you get up to? I went shopping, then I did this. We'll just wait for a few people to come on, and, those kind of things. Is get into what you're going to talk about straight away, and then introduce yourself, and then ask for the engagement. So, right, so today, for those of you in the video challenge, it could be something like, so hello, it's Helen here. Today I'm on day 3 of the Online Crew Video Challenge with Helen Martin, and what I'm talking about today is blah, blah, blah. Then go into your engagement. So if you're joining me live, let me know where you're coming in from. If you're catching the replay, let me know that as well. I'd love to give you a shout out later, blah, blah, ask for the engagement and introduce yourself, those kind of things. But just get straight to the point, and this is where you find your customers and your tribe. Because either people will like what you're talking about, or they won't like what you're talking about. So you want to find those people that are gelling with your content. That's how you find a tribe, when you're really on point with what you're delivering. Okay? Number 11. I've got to talk faster. Number 11, huge one that people doing live video don't necessarily recommend. They don't necessarily recognize, because they're a bit naive to it. So totally understand if you've done this, don't freak out. But what your phone does, if you're doing live videos on your phone, if you've got a connection with somebody, like you're a Facebook friend perhaps, or you've got a connection in Messenger, and you start watching your friend's Facebook Live, it will often come up on the phone. So let's say we're friends, you go live, it will often tell you Helen Martin is watching. And you might go, hi Helen, how are you? I can see you're watching. Biggest mistake ever on a Facebook Live, guys. You don't want to do that. People don't know that you can see them. You don't know. It's impossible to know everybody that's watching. Like, you might have 4 people, like it might say a little 4 at the top of your number. So 4 people are watching. Don't say things like, I know there's some people watching, say hello. If somebody comments, then acknowledge them. But until somebody comments, do not call people out. People don't know that you can see them. And as I said, you can't see everybody, but sometimes Facebook tells you that somebody's watching by name. So unless they say hello to you and they let you know that they are there, you don't want to call them out because it freaks them out and they're gone and they'll never come back. So just remember, don't acknowledge somebody unless they say something in the comments section because it'll scare them away. They don't know you know that they're watching. Okay? All right, moving on. That was number 11. Number 12. Oh, massive bugbear of mine. Those of you that have got business pages that are not your name. So those of you with a personal profile that have a really confusing name, like it's a long-winded name and it's really hard to pronounce. Please tell people who you are. There's nothing worse on a business page and it'll have something like beauty tips or, beauty and fashion or, whatever the name of the page is. And your name is not there anywhere. And you go live and you start talking. It's like, who is this? Their name is not in their branding. Their page is called something else. You must introduce yourself. And I don't think I've done that on this video. So those of you who don't know me, my name's Helen Martin. It's written right there. So we all make mistakes. Don't stress about it. But it's really important when you're trying to build your audience that you tell people who you are. If you've got a confusing name that is hard to pronounce, then tell people after you've done your little content of what you're talking about today and say, if we haven't met before, that is much nicer for you to say than if you don't know me. Don't say that. Say, if we haven't met before. It's a much politer way of saying, like, you don't want to turn up going, if you don't know who I am, I'm Helen Martin and blah, blah, blah. So, no, if we haven't met before, that's what you'll hear me say. If we haven't met before, my name's Helen Martin and I blah, blah, blah. Or if you've got a confusing name, you guys can call me such and such. You can call me H. I've got some friends, like Helen is not hard to pronounce, so you guys can get that. But let's say it was Haluma, and I could say, but you can call me H because I realize my name is difficult to pronounce. So if that's your situation at all, you're on a business page that doesn't have your name, you have a group that it is not your name, or you have a personal name that is difficult to pronounce, tell people how to address you by your name. Okay? I love addressing people by their name, and sometimes I just can't because I don't know who they are because they didn't tell me and it's not obvious. Okay? Okay, 2 more. I've got 3 minutes. Number 13, I kind of mentioned it before. I weaved it into another one before, but don't wait for people to jump on. If you've got a big fat 0, start your live and keep talking because most of your viewers are going to be on the replay. And they don't know that you didn't have anybody there when you started your live. So even if you've got a big fat 0, no one's watching your live, treat it like you've got 100 people watching you and treat your live the same way as you would even if you've got no one on there. So don't wait for people to jump on. Just deliver your live, start the content straight away, okay? And number 14, do them regularly. If you want to get some traction, you want to build your audience, you want to grow your influence, you want to get people to know, like, and trust you, you've got to do regular Facebook Live videos. So work out what that is for you. It could be one a week, 2 a week, 3 a week. That will depend on the number of people that are following you. That's a different conversation. But just do them regularly, work out what that is for you. And number 15, dropping links. Dropping links will hurt you unless you've got a guaranteed audience. You've got lots of people following you that will turn up anyway. Dropping a link in your Facebook Live, dropping a company link, those kind of things will kill your organic reach. Facebook doesn't like it because you're sending them off Facebook. It's also company links are not what you want to do, guys, because you're sending people off there on a journey and you've missed the opportunity to have a conversation. So make your call to action. If you would like to know more about what it is I do, feel free to personally message me, and then you can send them the company link in Messenger or things like that. But don't send it off the bat, because you send them on a trail then, and then they go to Google and they don't need to talk to you anymore because they found out what company you're with, what you do, and now they're off, they're gone. You always want to lead the discussion and provide your links in a private messenger while you're having a conversation with somebody, not on a Facebook Live, okay? All right, I've got 1 minute. I've got to go. I hope that was helpful. Was that helpful for those of you that are listening? Anybody doing Facebook Live in any capacity, please share this video with them, because all these kind of things add up. They're not the end of the world. If you don't do them or do them, but collectively they can make a big difference between your success of live video or otherwise. So I hope those 15 points are helpful for you guys. I've got to go on to a Zoom call with those in my coaching community, so I'll catch you tomorrow at the same time. Bye.